An interesting metrics story. Some people don't really think that metrics goes both ways, as they say. So you're studying metrics of people coming to your site. People are also studying the metrics of what sites you go to and how sites are set up. And an example of this is the Occupy movement. They're actually having some trouble with the websites that they have right now. They're supposed to be a private movement on the down low that has flexibility in social media to go from location to location and cause to cause and accomplish the goals that they've set. However, by putting third-party social sharing tools on their site, and by putting comments on their site, and by opening up their site to have the reach that they want to have, what they're finding is that the authorities in the various cities are actually able to backtrack the information from using social metrics and actually find the movements before they happen and nip them in the bud. There's a man called Tim Liebert that has been studying the issue who says that the right set of database queries can identify specific account holders, and it's fairly trivial to compile a list of people who spend more than 6 hours at a time at any given Occupy encampment just by looking at mobile phone records and who's visited the mobile site. So social media metrics are a very powerful thing, not just for your website and your web sales, and they're definitely worth paying attention to. There are, from what I am concerned, there are 5 main metrics channels. That's marketing, human resources, customer service, sales, and operations. And I actually like to break metrics out of the shell of marketing. I think if you're only looking at metrics from the standpoint of marketing or social media marketing, it's too easy to just stop there and not use metrics to have a more measured, holistic approach to your whole organization. Metrics can be very helpful with finding employees. It can be helpful with handling legal issues, human resources issues, customer service issues. It can be helpful in operations inside your agency from department to department. So each of these channels should have their own metrics dashboard, their own KPIs, their own keyword lists, their own functions inside your organization that you're tracking, and then one person in the organization should be kind of spearheading the movement to keep everything in step and make sure the departments and channels are all talking to each other. If I'm going too fast, please let me know. I'm actually trying to get to the meat of the presentation and then to your questions so I can answer as many as possible today. One of the questions in social media metrics that I get a lot is when to automate and when not to automate. It can be very tempting just to let Google Analytics, if you're a Google Analytics user, to let their preset reports do all of the work for your metrics, and they do give you a lot of information, a lot of useful information, but you're going to find that you get better metrics if you dig in and create specific reports around different goals and campaigns, around different events, around each of your KPIs. And then you're going to find that you're going to also have an external component to your analytics. So you're going to become a spreadsheet junkie. You might not be a spreadsheet junkie now, but Excel is going to become your friend because you can actually pull the metrics data out of programs like Google Analytics or whatever third-party program you use, put it into Excel, using the export feature, and also track in Excel the sentiment analysis and other metrics that are external that don't get captured by your website, and do some correlating and contrasting and comparing and manipulation of the data to really see what kind of impact you're having, not just online but offline as well. And that's going to help your conversions to sale and your brand awareness, a bunch of other things. So for B2B metrics, B2B is kind of a special case when it comes to social media metrics. You measure similar things to B2C, but because you're talking to businesses, you're in kind of a different stratosphere, a different layer of the internet, so to speak. So what you're looking at for B2B metrics is a marketing cost per sale, and leads that will help you close sales, leads that lead you into relationships with your clients and that help you expand those relationships to be more long-term. Costs by lead source. You're looking at renewals and referrals, at your efficiency of sale. Part of that marketing cost per sale metric is your customer lifetime value. How much your customers spend. How much you spend per sale for your customers. Who your most profitable customers are for you. how you're driving your sales incentives, how you're targeting your customers, how you're setting your pre-sale expectations. Another metric that you're going to want to pay attention to in B2B performance is database performance. That's how well the clients you're developing a relationship with are developing into a long-term sales relationship, and then what are you doing with that long-term client relationship with? You can actually measure a combination of database performance and sentiment analysis here and predict your future revenue out of this metric. And then you're also going to want to measure the length of your sales cycle. So you want to know what events on your website trigger deal acceleration, what acts as a catalyst for you, what your market size is and how addressable it is. Is your market size small enough to handle a tailored campaign, or is it defined in a similar fashion throughout your company so that the brand is consistent? What are your sales conversion rates that lead to opportunities? This has to do with deal size. So for deal size, this is used to abandon deals that don't hit your financial sweet spot. So it is not uncommon for me to recommend people actually fire customers, is what I call it. So if they're not, if they're a customer that's causing you problems in a B2B environment, it's okay to walk away and find a customer that's a better fit for you, and your metrics will help you do that. Also, to know when a deal isn't worth going after at all to save you time in your sales department, and then adjust your sales tactics to better reach your more ideal clients. And also, B2B metrics are great for lead generation and referrals. So this includes steps to manage lead generation, steps to figure out which leads come from social networking, and to look to the numbers before embarking on new sales tactics. And tools like Awareness that act as a hub are actually really great for the specific lead gen and referral aspect of B2B marketing. And also, I cannot stress this enough, not to forget to segment your referrals to see where they come from. So you want to add in a layer of advanced segmentation that defines your referrals as client sent, prospect sent. Did it come from a social media influencer? How do you identify those social media influencers, which is another way a tool like Awareness can help you. So those are all the things that I consider key B2B metrics in social media metrics. B2C metrics. This is a great way to find your direction as a brand, to get qualified leads, to find staff and employees for your brand, to verify their credentials, to get funding for your startup, close the sale, competitive intelligence. There's a whole bunch of things that B2C metrics are good for. And when I associate B2C metrics with startup funding, people often look at me askance when I do that. But the reason I put that in that bucket is because the VCs are often looking to invest in people that have a good customer relationship and a good customer access to influencers, a good following online. So at that level, they're really looking at your reach. So that's how you get money. Another B2C metric I think is key is cost per acquisition. So everything on your site, on your website, has a cost per acquisition, not just your pay-per-click, not just your display ads, but every single aspect of your website has a cost per acquisition. So you have to know how much the effort that you're spending online is costing you, even if that cost is staff or time and not actual money in pay-per-click. And the cost of your website might not live solely inside your web analytics tools. You also need to be tracking your affiliates if you have them, your email marketing campaign, which I hope you have. I know that it's popular right now to say email is dead, but I can assure you it is not. I think some people would like it to be, but it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Your social marketing time and value is something that tracks for cost per acquisition. Your vendor costs are in that bucket. And all of this that I'm talking about now should be going on spreadsheets. So you're going to notice throughout this presentation that I keep coming back to the spreadsheet. I'll go into why towards the end, but I'll tell you a little bit now. The spreadsheet that you create for your business really becomes your database and your hub for what you're doing for your business. So tools like Awareness and Google Analytics have a great dashboard of their own, but you also need one that lives in your office with you and tracks everything beyond the internet, really. Another metric that's great for B2C is bounce rate. This helps you identify the campaigns where you might be targeting the wrong people or the wrong category. It helps you find those instances where people arrive at your site and leave immediately, which helps you identify a poorly constructed landing page. And this allows you to do some A/B testing of both your metrics and your actual website until you can get it to convert. You want it to be converting about 80%. If it's really good, if you're an e-commerce, a little less than that is okay if you're not an e-commerce site. Getting to e-commerce, the cart abandonment rate is another metric that I think is key for B2C. An abandonment rate, if you don't know what that is, are the total orders placed on the website divided by total add to cart clicks, and then defined by the point at which people wander away from their shopping cart. I'm sure everyone has done this. They've gone to Overstock looking for a watch. They've stocked their cart with 4 or 5 watches. They decide they don't want to buy. They go to another website and they never come back. That's an abandoned shopping cart. There's also such thing as an abandoned site, by the way, which we'll go into in a little bit. So for the cart abandonment rate, you want to be keeping track of the people using your social media metrics who enter your shopping cart process from the moment they click that add to cart or buy now button until the moment they either walk away from the cart or complete the checkout. The checkout steps that bleed the most customers are the checkout steps you should focus on changing. And the reason they bleed customers could be anything. It could be someone's attention span. They could have a toddler in the house that distracts them for a minute and then you never get their attention back. Or it could be the way your copy is written or the image you've chosen or the place that you've put the buy now button on your site. Or a common mistake is to put the shipping cost towards the end of the order process. It converts much better to put the shipping cost towards the beginning. And these are all things that you can discover through metrics and through A/B testing, multivariate testing, and just by testing every single instance that the customer interacts with your site, from the moment that they see the item to the moment they buy it. The less you make your customer click, the more likely they are to complete your process. So the more times your customer has to redo something or re-click something or click something else, or if they have to refill out a form because they got the captcha wrong and it doesn't save the information and they have to re-enter it, all of those things reach a customer frustration level that you'll be able to physically see in your metrics when they leave your form. And you can fix bad forms like that. Google Analytics can actually track this by setting up events. Tools like Kissmetrics, if you use that, track it a little more automatically for you if you want something so you're not spending as much effort to set up reports. Another metric I think is important in B2C is your conversion rate. And this is where you track your earned, owned, and paid media. It tracks how your site is performing for each of those components. And you'll notice lately, I would say that those components are becoming more and more intertwined and a little less separate, but you can still separate them pretty well inside your metrics. This metric can be found very quickly if you're using Google Analytics in the All Traffic Sources report in Analytics. And then you can go in and segment the heck out of that report so that you're getting useful data for yourself. So you want to create advanced segments for size of the order, for repeat visits and frequent shoppers, for keywords that they're using to find your items, for sources and locations that they're coming from, for individual campaigns. And you're going to use this data over time to drive more large ticket buyers and more return shoppers. If you don't have a shopping cart in the traditional sense of the shopping cart, if you're a site that sells a service, or content or something like that, then you should treat your entire site as if it were a shopping cart for your services or ideas and track your visitors to the site and through the site accordingly using these metrics tools. Your click-through rate is another fantastic metric, and that is ad text plus your listing ranking number, plus your user query match, plus your intent of the ad goal. That's how you get your click-through rate. And it's a great metric for not just your website, but your email marketing as well. And it's also a great metric for both paid and organic search. And this basically tells you if the stuff you offer is finding the right eyeballs in the right place at the right time the first time. So if you're paying attention to your click-through rate, then you know if you're missing the mark. And to find your click-through rate, you can look in your metrics for any campaign, and you can just hit the drill down buttons all the way down into the individual creative content and look at the data analytics there. Page depth is another metric I think is important. You want deep page engagement, and what that means is people who come to your site and are looking at more than one page. Ideally, a deep page engagement to me is 3 pages or more. So you know that people are really digging down deep into your site, looking at everything you have to offer. And then you want to further segment that data. So you're seeing not just people looking at multiple pages, but which IP addresses, which locations, which referring sources are looking at the multiple pages and then leaving, versus who looks at the multiple pages and then buys or shows an intent to buy. So maybe they start filling out a form and then leave. And you want to use this data along with the abandonment rate and the bounce rate to change your site and your site's content marketing strategy to retain more visitors and drive more visitors to the point of sale. Another metric that's important for B2C is loyalty, and that's repeat visitors. So just knowing who comes back to your site is helpful, but this metric becomes most helpful if you also attach it to a goal. So either a content schedule, if you're not selling a product, but you're selling a service or an idea, attach it to your content schedule to when you're posting to social media and to your blog and when you're changing your website. If you're an e-com site, attach these goals to your shopping cart conversion data. Once you have this metric set up, you also want to know what sources are driving this loyal traffic so that you can put your energy into supporting those referring sites and topics more. And then the last important metric for B2C is KPIs. And these are things like the per visit goal value, or the days to conversion, or events per visit. So you're wanting to take larger metrics like your conversion rate and make it work harder for you. That's what a KPI does. It takes a general goal and makes it work harder and better. So every visitor may not turn into a lead or a sale right away, but with a little work, every visitor brings economic value in some way to your site.